يا داود إنا جعلناك خليفة في الأرض فاحكم بين الناس بالحق ولا تتبع الهوى فيضلك عن سبيل الله إن الذين يضلون عن سبيل الله لهم عذاب شديد بما نسوا يوم الحساب. We instructed him, O Dawood, we have surely made you an authority in the land, so judge between people with truth, and do not follow your desires, or they will lead you astray from Allah's way. Surely those who go astray from Allah's way will suffer a severe punishment for neglecting the day of reckoning. While narrating the incident of Nabi Dawood alayhi salam during his specified and designated hour and time of ibadah and seclusion and worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when two men scaled the wall and came into his chamber for an arbitration in regard to a certain issue and matter, Nabi Dawood alayhi salam gave out the ruling, etc. He made an error. He asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. Allah ta'ala forgave him. And thereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ends the incident and narration by giving out pertinent advices to Nabi Dawood alayhi salam, and of course for the ummah at large, especially for those that have a post of authority and a position of high level, etc. So Nabi Dawood alayhi salam was an executive, he was a judiciary, he was a qadi, he was a judge, he was a hakim, he was the ruler of the time. So those that are in possession of such posts of authority, etc., are being advised in this verse of the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses Dawood alayhi salatu wasalam and says, Ya Dawood, inna ja'alnaka khalifatan fil ard. We made you our vicegerent. We made you our vicegerent, our caliph, our khalifa, meaning you will rule in regard to certain matters on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his permission. Ya Dawood, inna ja'alnaka khalifatan fil ard fahkum bayna an-nasi bil haqq. Whenever you give a ruling, a decision, you make a judgment, then do it with the truth. So there is lesson number one for those in the possession of authority and power and rulership and kingship, etc., that whatever we decide, whatever ruling we give out, whatever judgment we make, it must be based on haqq and the truth. And this is the key to success for humanity and mankind. This is the key for peace to prevail around the globe. If truthfulness, if haqq is brought forward and falsehood and deception is erased from the equation, then we will definitely see peace, and we will see that the various departments, we will see the various sorts of whatever improvements we want, whatever sort of progress we want will prevail across the globe. Unfortunately, we find that haqq and truth has been trampled upon nowadays, not only by the non-Muslims, but also, unfortunately, sadly, by the Muslims as well. So this is a great lesson for those in authority and power, in leadership, etc. Truth should be your number one priority and rule in as far as judgment and in as far as your position as a chieftain or as a ruler is concerned, as an amir, as a leader of community, or whatever matter that may be. وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْهَوَى. Rule number two, do not follow your desires. Do not have a soft spot for someone because you know him or because of his wealth. Look into the lives of the Bani Israel and the various priests that were there in the time of the Bani Israel after the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam had left this world, and they succeeded these Anbiya as vicegerents for them. They began to look at the wealth of people, and in accordance to their wealth they used to give out rulings and make judgments, etc. In the same way, a person shouldn't rule, a person shouldn't judge, a person shouldn't make a ruling based on his desire for trying to get out something out of someone because of their wealth or authority or power in another place or another area or influence in society, etc. وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْهَوَى. You should never ever follow your desires in giving any sort of ruling. Maybe if it's a case between a husband and a wife, sometimes you have a soft spot for the woman, sometimes you have a soft spot for the husband, for For the men, whether it's due to family issues, whether it's due to wealth, whether it's due to just being kind and in terms of being kind to a woman, etc. So one should avoid following one's whims and fancies when making a judgment. إن الذين يضلون عن سبيل الله لهم عذاب شديد بما نسوا يوم الحساب. And once a person follows his desires and he rules in accordance to his desires, then he will be led astray from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And those that are led far away from the straight path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be given a huge punishment. They will be given a severe punishment and torment on the day of Qiyamah. This is simply because they followed their desires, because they were negligent of the hereafter. So rule number 3, when you're giving a ruling, put the hereafter in front of you. Put the akhirah in front of you. Put the day of reckoning in front of you. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask me why I gave this ruling, why I favored this person, why I went in accordance to this way and not that way, etc. So 3 great rules and principles of leadership have been mentioned. Number 1, فَحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ, rule with truthfulness. وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْهَوَى. Number 2, do not follow your desires. And number 3, put the hereafter before you at all times.